Good evening and welcome to this virtual event where we will chronicle the experiences of our 2021 College World Series umpires in Division II and Division III. My name is Dan Miller from United Collegiate Umpires, and I will be your host this evening. Joining us tonight are 5 of our umpires to share their College World Series experience. From Hopkinton, Massachusetts, Jeff Merzel. From Brooklyn, New York, Warren Nicholson. Dave Simon is from Albany, New York. Paul Thompson is from Felton, Delaware. And Mark Yoder is from Powhatan, Virginia. Also taking part in this virtual event are a group of NCAA coordinators, all working tirelessly to support their umpires. Scott Taylor, the NCAA Baseball Division II National Coordinator. Don Umland, the NCAA Baseball Division III National Coordinator. And all of our coordinators from Mid-Atlantic Collegiate and United Collegiate Umpires, John Porter, Alex Skandalis, and Chris Marshall. In terms of the format this evening, each umpire will have a segment where we will hear from him and the coordinators. For the umpires who worked the Division III College World Series, we will also have a video that we captured in Cedar Rapids to augment their segments. Tonight will be the first time any of these umpires have seen their videos. In terms of Warren Nicholson and his Division II experience in Cary, North Carolina, Scott Taylor will speak to Warren, the umpire, on and off the field. Prior to introducing the umpires, we will first hear from our coordinators with comments related to the collective group and what it means to be a College World Series umpire. Leading us off will be 2015 College World Series umpire, Alex Skandalis.
Thanks, Danny. This is a great event you put together here. Like to congratulate all 5 guys for their Division II success and Division III success. It's certainly a testament to the hard work on and off the field. These are 5 umpires that I've had a lot of experience with in the clinic atmosphere, and had the opportunity to assign all 5 of them. And these experiences and these accolades are always a testament to your guys' hard work and also the hard work of the entire group. And I've had the pleasure of spending time with 4 of these guys I guess we were in Cedar Rapids this year, on and off the field, and it was a great experience. Hope you guys took away something from it that you'll treasure for a lifetime. Looking forward to tonight.
John Porter, your thoughts?
You know, anytime we get to celebrate or applaud the umpires that have succeeded, I want to be right there. And in this case here, these guys get on a road to be better. Probably none of them really thought that they were going to end up in the College World Series, but I got news for them. It's not where they end up. It's the College World Series that propels them to the next level, which may not be anything better than another College World Series, but the example that they can set and the career development that they can put toward themselves and toward others make these guys the examples that we want to honor and we want to celebrate for years to come. You guys, congratulations. Great job for what you did, but we're not done with you and you're not done.
Chris Marshall, you have an interesting perspective, having worked the 2007 Division III College World Series and now as an NCAA coordinator. Your thoughts?
I mean, this truly is a celebration for the 5 guys that we're speaking of, and I've seen the development of all of these guys. Couldn't be more proud of what they've done leading up to this, and obviously their performance this last year. My experiences have certainly opened up doors for me and put me on a path for some good things in the future, and I would expect the same out of these 5 guys. And once again, it's been great to see their development throughout the years and celebrating this great achievement for all of them. So congratulations, guys.
Scott Taylor, you have worked the Division II College World Series multiple times, and now it's your job to assign Division II National College World Series. When you think about the College World Series, what does it mean to you from your perspective as the national coordinator?
Danny, thanks first of all for inviting me to this. I'm lucky enough to have gotten to work with Warren Nicholson at the Division II World Series, but I also know a lot of your D3 guys as well. I've got a chance to meet them at NCAA meetings and stuff. I think it's the beginning of a pinnacle, honestly. Guys that work hard, do the right thing, take care of their P's and Q's both on and off the field, are the guys that get selected for this type of an event. And I'm really proud of your organization and the training philosophies that you have to get them prepared and make most of these guys really, really easy choices for Don and myself for postseason selection at the Division II and Division III level. I'm tickled to death to be a part of this, and congratulations to everybody. And like John said a minute ago, you're not done yet. Your career moves on, and you have a lot to give back to other umpires. So looking forward to seeing how that progresses through time.
Don Umland, I know Alex and I have spent a lot of time with you at the Division III College World Series, whether working the series or helping you out on the outside, if you will. Your thoughts?
Well, thank you, Dan, for having me as well. Your support with you and Alex just make the experience that much more complete, not only for myself, but I also think for the umpires. I'm also fortunate that I was able to come up through the ranks and work a championship myself in 2005. And it was George's first year when he did it. So I've seen the transition from umpire and the coordinator to now we see George, who's obviously at the Division I level and beginning my 7th year here. What that complete process is like from an umpire and a coordinator and a national coordinator. And I couldn't be prouder of the individuals that we had this year. They all stepped up to the plate. I knew they would. Every year is special because we get a unique collaboration of guys that, that come together over the season and in the postseason, and then to come into the national tournament and make it work with guys that you may or may not know. And it, I'm not saying it ever runs seamlessly because, nothing rarely does, but we make it work. And I couldn't be prouder of these guys. I mean, that we had a fantastic championship. It was great to be back on the field. You could sense the feeling among the players, among the umpires, and just the sense of camaraderie that was occurring throughout the days that we spent together. And walking away, I couldn't be equally as proud of this group as I am any group that we've had. So thank you.
Thanks, Don, and thanks to all of the coordinators for your thoughts. Our first umpire segment will feature Mark Yoder. After a career in the Army, Mark got involved with umpiring, invested in the training program, and ended up in Cedar Rapids. Here's Mark's video, and we will hear from Mark on the other side.
The rumor mill had been in circulation for quite a while, and unofficially had heard things. So I think when I finally got the message from Don, it was okay, now I can actually believe it. Until it's in writing, until it's published, until it's in Arbiter, until it's whatever, I just didn't want to, get too amped up and just to be disappointed. But a lot of relief, a lot of pride. It's been a long time, maybe not as long as others, but this is what I've wanted to do since 2011. Got in contact with the Old Dominion Umpires Association of Virginia. Greg Walls was our high school guy, and said, hey, I want to do this. And they said, okay, come out on Tuesday to the University of Richmond. I had only ever worked two-man with minimal training. And next thing I know, I'm standing at U3 at third base in Richmond in shorts and a t-shirt with no clue what I was doing. Started going to three-man camps, again, I mean, the training and everything that we've done to get here, I think we probably all feel that we're better umpires than what we really are. But I felt like I was prepared. I felt like I was ready to do this. I almost felt bittersweet because I knew that for everything I had done to get here, that in a few short days it would be over. So I've tried to soak as much of it all in as I can and have as much fun as I can and enjoy the experience, because it probably won't happen again. There were somewhere between 25 and 30, if not more, I don't know, just crazy pitches in the lower outside quadrant. And it was mentally tough to figure, just to stay focused and get this pitch but not get that pitch, or get that pitch and not, it was tough. It was a hard grind. And the thing that stood out to me is every time somebody would get ahead, they'd tie it up, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, here we go again. It was a tough game. It was fun though. That's what I remember, was it was fun. On the field, I think the excitement that the players, the teams, the fans, us have walking out there, out of the tunnel every game. Every game I've walked out, I have felt some kind of a little bit of butterflies, nervous energy, and you walk out there and you're like, okay, it's time to go. So that excitement, I think, personally off the field, my dad was a basketball official, and he's always followed what I've done like I did following him as a kid. And so to have my mom and dad here for the whole week has been pretty cool. And my mom, who really doesn't like to sit and watch sports, has been here for every inning of every game I've worked, and most of the innings of every game that I haven't worked. And it's just cool to be able to look up in there, but up in the stands between pitches or between innings, and see them enjoying themselves watching me. That's been really cool.
With the perspective of a few months now, what's top of mind for you as you think back to your experience at the College World Series?
Wow, it's funny because I still get emotional. I'm watching that, and obviously it's the first time I've seen it, and I have that picture framed on my desk at home, and just to be able to share it not only with the 7 other guys that were there with me, but to have my mom and dad there was really, really special. And it was a great week. And just, what an experience. What an experience that'll never be duplicated. I don't care what happens from here on out. It'll never be duplicated. And it's pretty cool. Really, really cool now that you look back on it.
You talked about it a little bit in your segment, but you had the winner game, and I apologize for not knowing exactly how many innings it went, but it was an absolute grind.
I think it was 12 in about 4.5 hours.
What I also remember is somewhere either in the bottom of the 9th or in extra innings, capturing you on a 2-out hit that tied it. What stands out to you now as you look back that maybe didn't stand out when we sat down prior to you leaving?
I think what stands out at that point is, man, if I'd have got another pitch somewhere along the way, that wouldn't have happened. But no, it just, again, it's the emotion, and I don't care what you work, where you work, what series, what tournament you work. To see the emotion, not only, among us, but especially among the players and the coaches. They're in this, and they're every at bat, every inning, and they're playing with their whole heart, and they're playing for their school, they're playing for their friends and their teammates. And, it's an incredible emotional roller coaster from start to finish to see everything that happens. It's so awesome. It really is.
John, you've known Mark for quite a long period of time. talk to me about how proud you are of a guy who invested in the training program, worked hard, and then ended up at a College World Series.
You know, I like to think that umpires follow patterns and they do the right things that that they need to do. And I saw that in Mark a little bit, but there's something I think that makes him and made him special, and that is that he thinks. I mean, he doesn't just follow along what everybody else does. I mean, he's not one of those guys that's marching along and everybody doing exactly the same thing. When he sees that he's got to move in a different direction or make a different decision or anything like that, he's not afraid to do it. And that's what I like about him. And frankly, it's gotten him in trouble a few times, but overall, it makes him special, because you know that he's not going to watch something crazy going on a baseball field and let it go. He's going to fix it and make it right. So Mark, to me, is about learning. He put himself on a road and stayed steady on it and kept working at it year after year after year, plugging away, getting better and better and better. But guess what? As that happened, he became a teacher. And the teaching that he did as he was learning made him a better learner. And in the end, he became the guy that's not the follower. He became the guy that's the leader. And I couldn't be prouder of Mark. Love him to death.
Don, I think one of the things that really highlighted the Division III World Series was that all of the plate guys really did a nice job. And I'll speak for myself. One of the toughest games was certainly Mark's. What do you remember about that winner-winner game?
Well, I think I remember we had to have another game afterwards, and I was waiting for that one to get over so we could move to the next one, because his would never end. But aside from that, man, you hit it on the head when you say certain games are grinder games. I mean, if that doesn't embody it, I don't know what is. Because you know what, there's nights you go to evaluate and you wish, I mean, for nights that you can watch games like this, because this is where the cream rises to the top. You know, are you going to fold, or are you going to stick in there and grind all the way through it? And I thought Mark did exactly that. He stuck with it, and there's something to be commended for that. Aside from that game, I can't say enough good things about Mark as a great locker room guy. He's a great partner. He would always have somebody's back, but yet in the locker room, he might bust somebody, with a good joke, but it'd turn right around and he'd have your back. And there's nothing better than to have a partner like that. And to say where he came out of, which, out of John's area and the ODAC for the Greg, that's a really competitive area to emerge from. So to make it out of that conference and that region and get to the championship, every representative I've had come from that area, man, they've got it going on, and I couldn't be happier. And Mark, thank you for your contributions. They're well deserved.
Mark, as we wrap up your segment, what are your final thoughts, not only as it encompasses the experience, but now seeing your video and now hearing the comments from John and Don?
I think one of the things that John said is absolutely right. When I had the opportunity to start teaching and training at the high school level and then at the college level as guys were moving in, he who teaches learns. And I think that was the biggest thing that really kind of made things click with me, was having to teach and show other guys how to do things made me a better umpire. I had to learn. Okay, I think that was the first time that I really learned partner awareness, was being out on a field and being with guys that didn't know what they were doing and having to look and see what they're doing to fill a hole or to do whatever. And I think that was a huge stepping stone for me. But you know, it's been a wonderful journey. It's been a wonderful ride. I can't thank John enough. I can't thank Greg Walls enough. And I can't thank Don enough for having the confidence in me and all the guys that have come before me from our area. Thank you guys very much. It is it's been a 10-year goal. And as far as I'm concerned, anything that happens to me on a baseball field from here on out is gravy, because it doesn't get any better than this. It just doesn't.
Thanks, Mark. Our next umpire we will feature tonight is Warren Nicholson. Of course, Warren worked the Division II College World Series in Cary, North Carolina. And while we do not have a video for him, we will have Scott Taylor speak on his behalf momentarily. What I would like to say personally is I learned as much about Warren as I think really anybody could when about 10 weeks after he left Cary, he was in Virginia attending one of John's clinics. That is so telling to me that a guy who just was working the highest level of baseball in Division II was now attending a clinic. I think this really speaks to not only Warren the umpire, but Warren the person. And I know Scott is a big fan of Warren because shortly after the College World Series, Scott called me and could not have been more complimentary of Warren. Scott, take it away.
Actually, Danny, if you remember correctly, I thanked you because you were actually the one that put him on the radar, if you remember correctly, about 3 years ago. And Warren, I apologize. We don't have video for you. Everybody else has got a nice video tribute and everything, and you get shortchanged. You're stuck with me. So I will try to do it justice for what it is. I knew of Warren, his umpiring, but more importantly, all of the things that I do. When I invite somebody to the World Series, you got to be a guy that's of high moral quality. You got to be a guy that everybody wants to gravitate to. And Warren Nicholson, actually, for me, is the epitome and the photo in the dictionary of the umpire's umpire. All 7 of the other guys gravitated to Warren. Everybody loved Warren. It was never a question of what kind of guy he was. It was always going to be maybe just a bit of a question of how he umpires. Another thing that I tell guys when they come to Cary is I didn't scout you and I didn't watch you for what you do on the bases. That's what we have instant replay for. It's about what you do when you put the gear on and you crawl behind a catcher and you call balls and strikes for 3 or 3.5 hours. And Warren's story for me, and I tell this story often ever since we left Cary this year, is a story of perseverance. He had a game at first base in an afternoon game and got overturned on a whacker call at first base. Now, you could tell a lot about an umpire and what he's made of by how you react to something like that. You have a chance to tuck your tail between your legs and just fold the tent and give up. It not only happened to Warren once in that game, it happened twice, and it happened twice within about a 5-out span where he had not one but 2 calls overturned in a World Series game. And I took my time going to the locker room after the game was over because I wanted him to sit there and I wanted him to think about it. And I get to the locker room maybe 10 minutes after the game time. And Warren, while he never showed any emotion on the field, never showed anything of any weakness, in the locker room, he was pretty shook and I could see it. He was sitting in the locker room. His head was kind of buried in his hands, and you could just tell that he was disappointed in himself and what had happened. And it was really easy for me to evaluate the other three guys. And then I just looked at Warren and said, look, Warren, like I told you before, I didn't bring you here for your base work. You got a plate job tomorrow night. And so what your job tonight is to go out, hang out with the guys, have dinner, have a good time, relax, and forget about what just happened. Because how you bounce back from today is going to tell what you are as an umpire. And he came out and he worked a winner game and absolutely killed it. In fact, it was probably the top or maybe second best plate job of the entire D2 championship. He just went out and slayed it and took everything in and just had a great plate job. And that kind of tells you about what kind of guy Warren is. When the chips were down a little bit, he bucked up, he got after it, he focused, refocused, and went out and did a hell of a job. And I, that night, could not have been more proud of him. I hugged him and thanked him for coming back to the table the next night and doing the job the way it needed to be done. He handled everything with professionalism. When you go to Cary, and I tell all my D2 guys this, you become part of a very closed family. And we lean on the family from within. Sometimes I will take the opinion of one of my World Series guys past versus what I will take over sometimes what a coordinator might think, because the umpire knows that these guys are following in their footsteps and are becoming a part of a little fraternity and a little family. And the guys aren't going to let somebody who's substandard come through and represent them or represent the conference or anybody else. And so I ask a lot of questions of my guys who have worked World Series past throughout the year. Tell me what you think about this guy. What's he like in the locker room? How's his work ethic? Does he bust his butt every day on a baseball field? Every single thing I ever got back from anybody that I asked about Warren is, you won't be sorry you brought him to Cary. And every single one of them were right. I'm not sorry. He's a hell of an umpire. He's a better person, better human being. Always puts others first. And I consider him part of my family. And Warren, I couldn't be happier for you that you got a ring. I couldn't be more proud of you. And quite frankly, last but not least, I'm really proud to be able to call you my friend, because we've developed quite a relationship off the field since Cary, and think of you as not only my baseball family, but my family. So thanks for all the hard work you did. Really proud of you, and look forward to watching your career progress, because you're not done. You got a Division I schedule waiting for you in 2022. And I think you're going to be real happy with it. I think you're going to make a lot of people very, very proud. So congratulations again, Warren. You were a great selection. You were an easy selection, and just congrats for everything you do.
Scott, thank you for what really was a great testimony to Warren, the umpire, and really more important, Warren, the person. So Warren, let me first apologize that I wish I could have been out there in Cary and captured your experience. Since I was not able to be there, and we have not had an opportunity to sit down and discuss your experience, let me first ask you what it means to you to be a Division II College World Series umpire.
Thank you for having me. And Scott, thank you for the kind words. What tears in my eyes. It means a great deal. When I started umpiring, going to camps every year since the exception of me starting to umpire, learning. It was just an awesome experience. I didn't expect it, and it happened just unexpectedly. And it's an awesome feeling. And like Scott said, going to the World Series, I made 7 more friends for life. We stay in constant contact. I had a great crew chief. That game that I had was tough at first base, and he just stayed on me and uplifted me off the field. Scott didn't see that part. And I love those guys. I will never forget them, and I will always stay in contact with them. And I just thought about when I first started, knowing that Alex, Chris Marshall, those are guys that taught me from the start. And for them to have me be part of their organization when they got control of it, it was an honor. And I just want to thank those guys for always including me and giving me a schedule, allowing me to work and do the thing that I really love. I teach and everything. That pays the bills, but when I come to the baseball field, I'm in my glory. And I'm working, doing the thing that I love the most since I was 8 years old, being on the baseball field. And I truly can say the umpiring family is my family. And going to a Division II College World Series was awesome. It's not an experience that I just can't explain the process. I understand the process and why it's so tedious for these guys to do the research on guys that they choose to go to the World Series. I understand that process now because there's a lot of trust involved on and off the field. And I just want to thank everybody that spoke behind the scenes on my character. I want to thank everybody that gave me an opportunity to go. And I remember getting a phone call from Scott, and he's telling me, I didn't even meet him in person. It's like, you belong to me now. You part of my family. You part of my group. That made me feel so special. And it just took me to the next level. And another thing I would like to say, I'm not ready to stop umpiring to the day I can't walk. I love going to camps. I will never stop learning. I'm looking forward to the process of learning and continue going to camps and just elevate myself because I know and I saw there's another level for me to get to, and I'm ready to do it. But you guys and anybody else that's willing to teach me, I'm open to it. I want to say thank you to all of you guys for having me and continue praying for me and keeping me in your prayers. Thanks, Jim.
Warren, I just have a quick one for you before we bring in the coordinators. When you think in terms of your experience in Cary with a few months perspective, what is it that you focus on?
I just focus on I'm helping guys locally, teaching, learning from my experience, and just getting better, continue learning, going to camp. I've been going to camp ever since I started umpiring in college baseball. So I love camp. I love learning and being with guys from around the country that I haven't worked with. The camaraderie at camps, listening to stories. You learn from listening to stories, just hanging out with guys and listening to their experience. You can learn from that. And I really, truly look forward to going to camps. I'm looking forward to the one I'm going to in Delaware. You know, I'm just looking to learn. I look to learn at least one thing. If I learn more than one thing, it's gravy. But I'm still learning. I'm open to learning, and I love being around these guys.
For our coordinators, Alex, when you think back to all of your experience with Warren and then frame it in the context of him being a Division II College World Series umpire, what's top of mind for you?
Oh man, there's some guys here I've known a long time that are part of this event, and I think Warren's might be at the top of that list. And I remember seeing him at camp the first time, and just thinking of Warren as kind of a gentle giant, you know, and just when I got to talk to him and give him some things, and he was always a smile on his face, always looking to get better. And I'm just so happy for him and so proud of him. And I remember a few years back when Chris was up for the D1 conferences, and maybe I'm stealing a story from Chris here, but there was nobody more excited for Chris than Warren, and I'll never forget that. And all the support over the years, doesn't matter what it is. If Warren can do it, he's going to do it for us, and I appreciate that. And I'm so happy you got to a Division II World Series. It's an amazing accomplishment, and congratulations. And like many of these guys have said, there's a lot more out there for you, Warren, and look forward to watching it happen and you making it happen.
Thank you.
Chris, as a Division I coordinator, you not only get to see Warren at these clinics, but you then pencil him into many Division I assignments. Your thoughts on Warren, the College World Series umpire?
Well, I mean, Warren and I have talked a number of times about, him first starting out and, seeing him in those camps and clinics. And I couldn't be more proud of anyone than Warren and all the hard work he's put in and the kind of person he is. And that's even more important than the guy that he is on the field. He's one of those guys that's just so easy to put and pencil into an assignment and know that he's going to do a good job. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to be a good person. He's going to represent our organization and all of his partners in the best way. He's a role model. And I think what makes me most happy about Warren and all these guys is I know that this experience he's going to share with so many people. And he's going to, when he says he's going to keep working hard, he's going to help people, he means it. And, really can't ask for anything more than that. Just Warren, I'm so proud of you. And I'm so happy you had this opportunity, and I know you're just going to push forward. And Scott, he's mine now.
Before we transition to Dave Simon's segment, Warren, do you have any final commentary?
Yeah, I just, like he said, I'm sharing the story with guys, trying to motivate guys to continue moving forward to get to where I got to. And it's just it's an honor to be in that position to motivate guys and tell them my story, my experience. And like I said, it was a blessing, and I truly believe in our motto: "What's for you is for you," and you work hard and you get, your opportunity will come to get there. Thank you.
We thank you, Warren. Thanks a lot for everything you do on and off the field. The next umpire we will feature here tonight is Dave Simon. And I have to share with all of you a story when I sat down with Dave to record his interview for the video you're about to see. I asked him if he had changed his approach to working in the College World Series. And he just looked at me with this big old smile and he said, "No, I just viewed it as my time to shine." I really wish I was able to incorporate that into the video. But since I did it, what I will say is that in the video, Dave talks about something that is really important in terms of the future of umpiring, and that's players transitioning to becoming an umpire. We will develop this more with Dave following his video.
I was at work, and when I got the call, I was excited. Especially after the COVID. I thought I had the opportunity last year, and then the COVID hit, and then I was like kind of down and everything. I was like, man, I was hoping to go to the World Series last year, and then we had the pandemic, and then this year it's like, it's breathtaking to be here, and it's a humble experience and everything, and I just appreciate everything that has happened to me. It all started back probably 12 years ago. A buddy of mine that worked with me, he was always in my ear, you should become an umpire. You should become an umpire. And I was like, nah, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to be an umpire. I'm still got, some ability to play the game. And then finally I stepped over and crossed over, and it's been a great journey. It's been a hard work, working every day, grinding, listening to everybody that I come across, from my buddies back home to Matt McMahon to Rudy Fernback, just being able to learn from all the, the instructors, Danny Miller, Alex, Chris, several guys, it's just a blessing. It's been a great experience getting to know my crew, guys from all across the world. Being at the ballpark every day, grinding from 8 in the morning to, maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, just watching the guys in the clubhouse, watching their games and everything. It's just been a great experience.
Welcome, Dave. As you view that video, what are your emotions? What's top of mind for you?
I'm just blessed, from being a ball player. God gave me the opportunity to be a ball player and then switch over to be an umpire and working as hard as I have been, hitting the gym and trying to be in shape and everything. And just very blessed to have the opportunity to be on the field with great guys and everything, and going to camps, and just very blessed.
One of the things that you talked about in the video, Dave, was your clinic experiences, how you appreciated and valued the importance of umpire training. What is it that led you to make the decision to invest in your umpiring career?
It was kind of like me playing baseball. I mean, only way I was going to get better is if I went to the camps. I went to clinics to get better, where people could see me. If I was to just sit at home and say, "Oh, I'm a umpire," and see what happens, I'm just going to let my talent evolve. It wouldn't have never worked. I had to go learn the game, because I seen a bunch of guys that I worked high school, just stay in one place because they didn't want to go to clinics. And, you talk to them to go to clinics and stuff, and it just seems like nobody wanted to get better. So that's where I knew I needed to be, because I wanted to be the best umpire that I possibly could be, is by me going to clinics.
One of the things that stood out to me from interacting with you through your whole experience in Cedar Rapids was how meaningful this experience to you was. With the perspective now of a few months, have you been able to process exactly how meaningful this recognition is?
Yeah, I'm just very thankful that I had the opportunity to umpire a World Series in a very short time that I've been umpiring. I'm just very blessed to have that opportunity, and thanking everybody that believed in me and everything. I look at everything that I got at the watch, just saying, wow, I was there. And it's still mind blowing that I got that opportunity to be at a World Series.
Is there an experience in Cedar Rapids, whether it was on the field or off the field, that really stands out to you?
Just the camaraderie of the guys. I mean, we didn't really get to spend a lot of time together because of the COVID, and we had to stay in the locker rooms and stuff like that. But when we did have the opportunity to hang out and get to know each other, I knew my crew very well. We had a great time, but the other crew, I wish we, we would have got to mingle a little bit more to really get to know those guys. But just what the experience that I had with them, it was a great time.
Don, share with us your impressions of Dave and his time in Cedar Rapids.
I thought Dave said something that was very interesting, aside from the time and experience in Cedar Rapids, the people that he named that he learned from, Matt McMahon, Rudy Firmbach, you, Danny, Alex, all past World Series umpires, picking the brains of people who had been there before, that's invaluable experience to take and apply as you move into the next level. Dave always wanted to be better. And I could tell that because when we talked in Cedar Rapids, we talked a lot about, the process of getting to Cedar Rapids and, the regionals and everything you have to go through. And he had a tough regional. He really had to work. And what I found out most about Dave Simon is when he got to the national tournament, he took everything that he was learning along the way, even just the level right before he got there, and was applying to be better. And I can't ask for anything better out of an umpire. I mean, I have a pretty good feeling when they get there. Obviously, there are some that I don't know personally, and I'm really entrusting, what the coordinators are saying to me, and they hit it spot on with Dave. I mean, he performed well, but he just wanted to learn, and he was willing to listen to feedback, and that's what you want. And I couldn't ask. I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you very much. That's the best way I can sum it up.
Alex, Don just cited how he solicits the thoughts of different coordinators throughout the country. And I know he speaks to you frequently, and you have an intimate knowledge of the Division III umpire program. Speak to me and share with us your thoughts on Dave.
The two things that come to mind on this topic are, number one, I could always count on Dave to go back there and give me a great play job. And like Scott just said a few minutes ago, that's where you make your money. And if there was a game that needed a plate umpire in Division III tournament, Division III regional, Division III World Series, there's nobody I'd rather have back there than Dave. And that's a calling card. And I know he'll take that with him and continue at the Division I level and as far as he wants to take it. And, one thing that Don touched upon is, Dave had to overcome some adversity between his regional and his World Series. It was a tough regional, and but I always appreciated that, whatever happened at the regional, Dave put it behind him. He was ready to work when he got to Cedar Rapids. We're all going to be in situations that maybe we wish we could change a little bit, but there's always going to be another pitch. There's always going to be another game, another inning, and putting it behind us and putting our best foot forward for a championship. And everything that Dave did out there is testament to who he is, and I'm proud that he represented our conferences out of New York and represented United out there in Cedar Rapids.
Dave, as we wrap up this segment, Alex and Don alluded to you overcoming adversity in the regional. How difficult was that for you to turn the page and then perform on the biggest stage Division III baseball has to offer?
I was more pissed off at myself because I like to be perfect. And when that happened, I processed it, thought about it, and just was like, wow, Dave, you got to be better. And then once it was over and I had talked to Don and everything, and I was just like, you know what? I got to move on. And it was a learning experience, and everybody has a learning experience. And it just made me better. It made me better as an individual, as an umpire, and it is, I'm just grateful that Don gave me the opportunity to go to the World Series and had the faith in me to go out and perform. So very grateful.
Thanks, Dave, and congratulations to you. The next umpire we are going to focus on is Paul Thompson, another umpire who transitioned from being a player. What stands out to me in the video we are about to see is the respect and appreciation Paul has for John Porter and all of the people who have helped him in his college career en route to Cedar Rapids. I think this piece translates really well in his video.
I started umpiring at 30. I was a late bloomer. I played semi-professional baseball and then got tired of the softball thing and was looking to stay competitive in the game and started at age 30. And pretty quickly, John Porter became an advocate of mine and encouraged me in many ways and pointed me to camps and clinics and really throughout the years, just everybody I've worked with, I think, recognized how hard I wanted to work at the game, and so they were open to me. No matter how hard I work, without the clinic and camp experience that John provides, you need that application to go along with your desire to work hard. It's not just hard work, it's working hard the right way. Actually, I received a phone call from Alex, and I had to pull over because I was getting ready to enter a dead cell phone area, and I wanted to make sure I heard everything. And I had to compose myself before I continued my drive to my series that weekend. I was pretty pumped. Yeah. I couldn't have done this without the support of a lot of really good umpires, a lot of really good instructors. Yeah, I worked hard, but it was, I couldn't have done it without the training, support of guys like yourself, Alex Skandalis, John Porter, Chris Marshall, and all the countless number of umpires that took the time after a game to just give me one little tidbit. They knew I was interested in getting better, and they took the time. So it's just want to thank everyone that did that. I could not have had a better group of guys to do this with. We have really bonded. We've had a lot of fun. Very good umpires. Very, very humbling to work with such good umpires. And it's a shame that we don't live closer together and would get to work together again on the field, because I really like the guys.
Welcome, Paul. When you see your experience captured in video like that, what are your emotions now?
Takes me back to when Alex called me. A culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of advocates for me. It's special, very special.
You were on the plate when the Division III College World Series ended. Talk to me about being on the field and seeing that and experiencing it.
Well, I wanted to make sure that I took it in. When we walked out of the tunnel, I knew I was ready for the game. That was, there was no doubt about that. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss the moment, that I took it all in, beginning to end.
One of the things you talked about in your video was the respect you have for umpire education and training. what led you initially to embrace the umpire training?
The desire to get better. And I realized pretty quickly that if I didn't train, other guys were going to train, and I was going to stand still. And then once I embraced that, each camp or clinic was just a little another tool in your toolbox to get better and better and better, another piece of the puzzle. And then I just really steamrolled from there.
Can you characterize for us your overall experience in Cedar Rapids on and off the field?
The first thing I think of is what an honor it was to be a crew chief with such awesome umpires. I mean, with such a great, not only great umpires, but a great group of guys. And I just have to say, I love Dave Simon. We had a great time together on our crew. Just that such great guys can be such great umpires as well. Everyone out there.
Before we solicit John's thoughts, Don, if you would speak to us about Paul Thompson and his experience, not only en route to Cedar Rapids, but his time working the College World Series.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's interesting when you go to make a selection, you have to, there's the consideration you got to have a couple of crew chiefs, and they're difficult decisions, but yet in this time, it was really easy. Watching Paul's work, leading up to his selection to go to the championship, seeing him on video, talking with guys like John and Alex, and Paul just has a natural presence on the field. And there was something just calming about watching him work. When you have certain aspects or attributes like height and presence, and you apply those to the maximum amount that you can. And we all have different attributes, but how we use them to the best of our ability. I think Paul gets the most mileage out of his experience as a player. And I think he takes the physical attributes and the presence he provides on the field, but yet there's an even keel. And I always felt that was what made great with Paul. And interestingly enough, Josh Mara, who was the other crew chief, is all of 5'0". So you have these two polar opposites in terms of attributes, and yet they can make it and apply to what they do best. And that's lead. And that's what I say thank you, because Paul definitely provided that among the two crew chiefs and just being a great partner. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
John, Paul credited you with guiding him early in his career as someone who authentically is invested in helping umpires. How does that make you feel?
We have an enormous, great relationship with all of our teachers and trainers and all of our programs, running from way far north to way far south. The partnership that we have with Alex and Chris Marshall and Greg Walls, and the way that we have that integration of those great umpires that work together. The North guys work with the middle guys, the middle guys work with the Southern guys, and it's all a sharing of stuff. And so in umpiring, I can't stress enough how important the competition is in umpiring to get better and get a better assignment or go to a better place. And Paul did that. I mean, early on, I could tell that Paul was going to be different and he was going to be special, because I started learning early on, people were starting to get jealous of him because his talent, his ability was propelling him further and faster with a higher and longer trajectory than a lot of the people around him. And people, not just me, but all kinds of people started recognizing that. And that to me is really cool, that it wasn't just me picking or Alex picking or Chris picking or Greg picking, but we saw the umpires picking. They knew who he was and they kind of put him in that position. Coaches put him in that position. I've never seen it happen like that before. And now Paul transitions not just from a student, but to a teacher. And he has become one of our better instructors out there, you know, passing on what he tries to and what he tried to learn. But the thing that he can't really pass on is who he was and how he impacted the umpires in his area, who became enormously jealous of him as to how good he was and how much they wanted to be like him. And so we as instructors can lead students and umpires to the font of knowledge. They can drink all they can hold, but some of them don't show it. They don't really get better. They just do it because of a process. But Paul's a guy that had this natural talent that went and valued the training and teaching and the relationships that he had with people, made the right relationships, got along with the right people, and you do not succeed in this business unless people like you. Well, there were a lot that were jealous of him, but everybody liked him. And that is one of the secrets of success. Paul, congratulations. Couldn't have happened to a better, more likable person.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Before we let Paul wrap this up, let me ask you, Alex, as someone who has had a long history with Paul, please share with us your impressions on Paul Thompson and his Division III College World Series experience.
I think as a coordinator and someone that talks to John and Chris and Don very often, quite often, about umpires and who needs to be progressing and where they should be going. And I think every time I open my mouth and you know, support someone, I'm using some currency. I look at it like that. I'm using some currency, and you know, that currency, I want to get it back. I don't want to lose that money. And what I mean by that is, it means something when I step up for the five guys who are on this video, but specifically when it came to Paul being a crew chief. I think when Don and I talked, it was like Don just kind of knew in my voice that needed to happen. And he was a really good choice. And so I'm so happy that I used my currency to go to bat for you, Paul, and you made us all proud, Chris. And I know I can talk for Chris and John and Don and Danny and everybody on the call and your fellow umpires. So congratulations on a great series. Congratulations on your career to date. And I know there's much more to come. So enjoyed spending, 8 or 10 days out there with you, or however long we're out there, and looking forward to seeing you again.
Definitely. Thanks, Alex.
Yep.
Paul, wrap this up for us and share with us your thoughts as we sit here this evening.
Well, just like Dave said, I'm very, very, very blessed to have the opportunities I've had. I'm in a unique location where I've been very blessed to be able to work with a lot of MAC and UCU conferences and take advantage of training in a wide variety of areas. And I just want to say to all the guys in the training who are maybe 5 or 6 years into their career, if I got to a World Series, you can do it if you want it. And I would take pride in helping teach and train guys and bring them up and help get them that experience.
Thanks, Paul. We appreciate you being here this evening. With our final umpire, and that would be Jeff Merzel. I guess the first thing that I think it goes without saying is Jeff is the second best umpire in his family. Of course, his son Dan not only instructs for us, he's also a AAA and MLB call-up umpire. What really stands out for me in terms of Jeff's video that we are about to see, what really translates so well is how much Jeff really appreciated the camaraderie that was developed with everybody that he was working with in Cedar Rapids.
It was a shock. It's actually a kind of a funny story. I saw the number on my phone. It was from Iowa, and I said, "Oh, this can't be a real number." I didn't even answer it. And Don left me a voicemail and said, "Hey, Jeff, got a quick question for you. Give me a call when you get a chance. Nothing urgent." So I called, and he told me, and I was dumbfounded. I'm not speechless too often, but I didn't really know what to say other than yes. He said, "Can you make it?" Yeah, I'll figure that one out. Yeah. I don't think I was nervous till I stepped on the field behind the plate. That was really where the butterflies started. I was very excited. The regional experience was great back in Hartford, and I was really looking forward to it. I mean, the time went fast getting up to here, and it was something that I was really looking forward to. I tried to take it all in, look in the scoreboard in the background. It's not a huge crowd, but everybody's yelling and everybody's excited, and a few butterflies, but it was awesome. The thing that I was looking forward to the most was the level of baseball, because we all do games during the regular season that are hyped up and turn out to fizzle out. You get a route here, you get a route there, and this coach is not acting right, and the baseball here has been great. Even the games that were long. I mean, we had a 4.5-hour game, but it was a good game. It was back and forth. One of the late games where we got off the field at 2 a.m., I was shocked that it was already 1:30 when I looked up at the clock because, wow, this game's moving right along, but it was a 3-hour game. So the intensity of the players, the level of baseball, that's been what I'll take away from this is I'm glad that it was there. We didn't have any routes or any bad games. They were all good, all what I expected. I know some of the guys that are here already. We've met before, we've worked together before, and just getting to know them better and joking around and just having a great time. The other guys that I didn't meet, it's a great bunch of guys, good group. We all get along, we went out. Overall, it's been an awesome experience and something that hopefully a lot of guys will get to experience after me, and something I won't forget.
Having seen the video, having heard everyone speak tonight so eloquently about their World Series experience, what are your thoughts and emotions right after seeing that video?
Well, I see that you cut out a lot of the swears that were in there that slipped out of my mouth during that interview. So thank you for that. And thank you for putting this together. These have been great. I just wanted to share something with Warren. I too got flipped twice during the World Series, and it was not fun. And I have Alex to thank for the flipping because he was doing the video, but I'm with you, Warren. The two guys from Brooklyn, we're bonded for life with that one. The experience, the emotions that I have, the memories that I have are really what I said in that video. I still think back to the camaraderie of everybody, how we got along. We had to stay in the locker room between games because of the COVID thing, but we still had a great time. Everybody bonded, everybody got along, and it's a lifetime memory for sure.
One of the things that really resonated with me, Jeff, that you talked about in the video was hoping other people got to share in the experience that you had. Why was that, or why is that so important to you?
Well, it all starts with the training that everybody talks about, and you hear stories from guys that have been around longer than you. You know, however, whenever you start, there are veterans there, and you hear their stories about regionals and conference tournaments and super regionals and the World Series, and you say, gee, maybe one day I'll get there. And now that I've gotten there, it's certainly something that everybody should experience if they get a chance. It's if they get the honor of being selected like we did, it's something they'll never forget. I'll go back to the lifetime memory. And I just have to jump back, Danny. I want to thank you for bringing Dan up so quickly. I had the over under at 45 seconds before somebody brought up Dan in my video. So I won that one. Thanks.
One of the things we frequently hear from umpires who worked College World Series is that they didn't really get to enjoy it because of the intensity on the field. You spoke about how competitive the games were. In hindsight, when you look back, were you able to really enjoy the experience?
100%. I mean, the on-field experience, as I mentioned, went by so quickly, but I was on the crew with Yoder and the 4.5 hour game. That was the one that ended I think it ended at 2 a.m. Whenever it was, it seemed to go by quickly because it was so intense and so much fun. We were able to interact with the players a little bit in between innings, and they were as excited to be there, obviously, as we were. And we got to realize, and they got to realize, that we have to work hard to get there too. And sometimes we have to work harder than they do because there's a lot more of them that get to go than us. So, but for sure, we got to enjoy it. I got to enjoy it. Even between games, as I said, we weren't allowed to be in the stands. We had to stay isolated because of COVID, but we still had a great time. We were watching from the locker room, and some of those experiences stick out. I won't bring up Yoder and Kyle. We'll let everybody who was there know what happened in that one, but that's an experience I'm sure that we'll never forget either. So a lot of great memories that will stick with us.
Don, if you would share with us your thoughts on Jeff's journey to Cedar Rapids and his experience working the World Series.
This is real. Everybody has a unique story, but the story with Jeff is really, it's just, sometimes you just know when you make a great choice. And here's a guy who has kind of a dry sense of humor, but yet it's so easy to talk with. And yet when I was doing some of my, my background checks, you talk to coordinators, you talk to site supervisors, you talk to selected coaches. And the theme that came through with Jeff, and this is what I really like, was he's likable. And we don't, we're not out there to be best friends with the coaches. We know this, but when you can develop relationships and there's a consistency among coaches, coordinators, site supervisors, like, call it an umpire's umpire, call it a guy that's approachable, call it a guy that's likable. Here's your guy. I mean, that's what I liked about Jeff. He's so easy to talk with. Call it the veteran experience, call it what he's learned from his son. The package is there. There isn't more of a deserving guy than Jeff who made it to the series. And congratulations, and Jeff, time well spent with you, and look forward to, more conversations down the line. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Don. Thank you.
Chris, you've known Jeff for a long time. Your thoughts and impressions of Jeff's journey to Cedar Rapids and the Division III College World Series?
I think we met way back when on the Cape. Had to be 20 plus years ago. And maybe lost a little touch for a few years and reconnected obviously when I got into this position, but talk about a guy who's just been steady and working hard for a long time and just keeps pushing away and pushing forward and working hard and improving and great attitude, all the things that we look for in umpires. And like Don said, just someone that people want to be around, who's fun to be around, who's a good crew guy, and really all the best attributes of an umpire. That's Jeff, and couldn't be happier for the man, and really proud of you. And there's big things ahead of you, like all the other guys. So congratulations.
Before we open this up to final thoughts from the umpires and the coordinators, Jeff, if you will, just wrap up your experience and your thoughts as you look back on your time in Cedar Rapids.
Well, I want to jump in for a second and thank Chris and Alex for their support over the past several years. And a quick story about Chris and how, everybody says, oh, they care about us umpires, not just trying to put bodies in games. Middle of the season, when struggling to get games covered by the right people and people getting hurt and trying to find guys, I got a call from Chris saying, hey, you got something to do this coming weekend instead of your series that's coming up? And I chuckled because what Chris was doing, and Dan, you had a big part in this as well. You guys were basically taking me out of my series so I could go watch my son umpire his first major league games this season at Yankee Stadium. So that was a real incredible gesture that you guys did, and something also I'll never forget. So thank you for that. My thoughts really aren't different than what I've said and what the other guys have said. The experience is something we'll never forget. And it starts back with all the training and camps that we've gone to. Collectively, the number of hours that the five of us have probably spent at camps is a very large number. And for me, it began in the 2000s when John Porter had his camps in Orlando. And those were phenomenal experiences for me because I didn't know anything about three-man. Some people will say that I still don't, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And he had some phenomenal instructors back then. The names that come to mind are Bob Gustin and Darren Seeley and Craig Alden. I got to meet Laz Diaz. And then when Chris and Alex and Danny got involved with the whole organization, we got to meet and learn from real major league guys, not just my son, talking about Will Little, Laz Diaz again, and others. And I want to give one more shout out, and then I'm going to shut up, to Jim Clayton. We all think of Jim as the tech guy who sets up the Zoom and teaches Danny how to use his computer. But Jim gave me a tip at a camp in, I think it was in Delaware or North Carolina. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was in the plate station. We were going through pitches and going through stuff, and he gave me a hint that a mechanic that I've used innumerably, and every time I use it in a game, I think of Jim. And Jim, thank you for that, because it's something that stuck with me and will continue to stick with me. So congratulations to everybody. It's been a pleasure working with all you guys.
Thank you, Jeff, and congratulations to you. As we conclude what really has been a special night tonight, what I want to do is just open it up to the umpires to solicit any final thoughts that they may have.
I'll speak up, guys. Let's stay hungry. There's more out there for us. Let's keep working hard. Let's be teachers. We get better when we teach. We had the summer, we took some time, but it's time to go back to work.
Let's hear from our coordinators.
Well, Danny, I want to flip the script on you a little bit here, because seemingly, at some point I got pulled into helping with the administration of the D3 World Series. Probably I forced myself on Don a little bit. I just kept showing up, and I think he figured, well, let me put this guy to work if he's just going to keep showing up at the World Series. But every time I seemingly want to go, I ask you to go with me, and you're always so excited to go and be a part of that process. So I just want to hear a little bit about what that's like for you and why that seemingly is something that you look forward to every year.
I think for me, now you caught me off guard here, Alex, but I think for me, my first experience at the World Series was going to Appleton with you. And it was in Appleton that Don first initiated even the possibility that I would eventually work a College World Series. I believe we were in the camera well, as you are wont to do, going down to the camera well to usher the umpires off the field, when you first broached that topic, Don. And initially, I didn't know how to process it. But at the end of the day, there are only so many umpires that get recognized as a College World Series umpire. And I had just made up my mind that I was going to work as hard as I could. And if I was selected, then I would go out and try to represent all of the people that were behind me. Like Alex said earlier, everybody who puts umpires in these spots, it's like a currency. So in addition to the pride that I have, that I take onto a field every day, I want to do the best I can. And I wanted to validate those decisions made by guys like Don and validate the recommendations by guys like Alex. So I guess working the Division III College World Series was one of the pinnacles of my career. I'll never forget putting the ball in play before the first pitch of my plate. That will always be a moment that I will never forget. And then transitioning off the field to all of the administrative stuff, I just love being there because I admire all of the work that Don does and all of the work that Alex does. And to pick up on what Jeff said, I wish for all of the umpires who may be viewing this, I wish for all of them to realize that type of success, because that's what we really all work towards. And one of the things that we've always preached at our clinics is to root for the other umpires. And that's what really makes me happy when I go to Cedar Rapids in the administrative role, is that I am familiar with so many of these umpires, at least in the Northeast, and I am just really happy for them. And I love rooting for them to do well. So that might not be the exact answer you were looking for, Alex, but that's what stands out to me when you ask me that question.
Yeah. And, you know, I know, Chris, you're in a position where you watch a lot of umpires, and it's at the regional level, the super regional level, the conference tournament level, and all those type of things. And how does seeing a group of umpires like this succeed and get these kind of accolades, it seems like that would be something that really makes you tick.
It's so satisfying to see these guys have this chance to work in the World Series and National Championship. And it's really awesome to hear them all, to a man on here, remember those experiences and the fact that they enjoyed that time. And, you know, unfortunately, I didn't learn that as early as I would have loved to in my career. I think maybe put too much pressure on myself, maybe went into situations not really enjoying the experience. But these guys did, and that's awesome. And now they can kind of carry the torch here and spread that to the next guy. And I know way back when I went, it was all about telling guys, I really want you guys to experience what I had experienced. And I feel that's what Danny said, and all these guys feel the same way. They want to pass it on to the next guy. They want to give the next guy the opportunity to go and achieve and experience what they have. And that's awesome. I mean, it's so satisfying to see that, and to see the development of these guys to get to that opportunity and to succeed. It's as a coordinator, it's satisfying to me. And, I'm excited to see what these guys are going to do in the future, because they're true leaders and they're going to make everybody better from their experience.
Don, before we turn attention to 2022, I know you're probably already doing your diligence in terms of the 2022 Division III College World Series. Wrap up your thoughts as it relates to what we have been talking about here this evening and the 2021 College World Series umpires.
Well, you are accurate. I mean, the ball doesn't stop rolling. That I'm already in the preparatory stages of, working with coordinators and visiting with commissioners, things good, bad from the past, and then trying to make our championship, better for 2022. But, I don't want to forget about what we've done in the past, because the past builds the future. And every crew that I've had has represented, outstanding. And, what we take away from this is, at the end of the day, what does each umpire have? They say these selected games and moments that they're always going to remember, but they're going to remember the relationships that they built along the way. And I think there's something like Chris said that can be said for that. Enjoy the moment, and they did, and appreciate what you earned, and then pass it along. I mean, the majority of you guys have heard me speak, and one of my themes in every one of them is about mentoring. I mean, we're at a crossroads here in every sport, and I work three, and many of you guys work multiple sports. The crisis we have with officiating is not going away. And so what can we do to give back? And that resonates as much as it does for what we do internally to get to a championship. But then what can we pass along or bring somebody else into the fold to be the next generation of guys that are going to represent at whatever level they may be. And I'm proud to be involved in that. I'm proud of the individuals that represent, because I know they have the same characteristics and beliefs that I have. And that makes it exciting for 2022 and beyond. But we all have challenges in these sports, and we should celebrate these moments, which is what we're doing here, and get excited about next season. So thank you.
Before we say goodnight, I would be remiss if I did not solicit the thoughts from John. And I remember when I first broached this topic with John, he was really excited. And what he immediately gravitated towards was conveying a message that has been echoed here tonight. And I know he is absolutely excited about it. And that is that once we have success as umpires, it doesn't mean we stop learning. Your thoughts on that, John?
I don't know, Danny. It's hard for me to be excited about anything anymore. There's been so much water under the bridge. But we sometimes talk about teaching and students. Who's the teacher, who's the student, who's the teacher, who's the student. Like they're separate. And a few years ago, I remember opening up a camp, and I remember saying something that I said then that I say all the time now. This is a partnership. We are asking you as umpires to join and be part of this partnership. And this partnership includes all of our instructors, not just Danny Miller and Alex Skandalis and Chris Marshall and Don Umland and Scott Taylor, but all of our instructors that we have, because we build a pyramid of teaching. But we also build this big platform of partnership where we put everybody up on that platform and we work together. And I'm asking all of our students to join us and be a partner in this, because we want to be together in what we do and how we do it. And the success that we've had in doing that is palpable. And I can't tell you how much I enjoy the fact that we're sitting here talking to equals, and we're not just talking to other instructors, but we're talking to our brethren, our equals, our people that are on the same platform with us, like Jeff Merzel and Paul Thompson and Yoder and Simon and who am I missing? But anyway, we're all the same, and we're trying to build the same thing and make the same program. And I love the fact that we've done that. Warren Nicholson was the one I just didn't remember right away. And so in closing, as soon as the College World Series was over, or shortly after it was over, I gave Warren a call and I said, Warren, you know, I hope you're not, you know, packing your bags and thinking that you've made it, because there are more places to go and there's more ladders to climb and there's more opportunities out there than where you are right now. Don't ever be happy and don't ever be satisfied. You know, keep working as long as you have that itch and keep scratching it and keep making it better. And he was amazing, right on board with that. And he said, yeah, you know, I'm charged up, I'm excited, I want to go and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep working and keep getting better and keep staying on that path, on that road. And that's a good example for all of us. So I appreciate everything everybody does, and I appreciate what all of our students do who are no longer students, they're partners. Thank you.
Thank you, John. As we say goodnight, let me first once again echo the congratulations to all of the College World Series umpires. As John would say, it's pretty cool that you will always be known as a College World Series umpire. And thank you to all of you, the umpires, and all of you coordinators, for carving out time in your busy schedules to really celebrate the accomplishments of all of these umpires. We'll look forward to doing it again next year. Until then, have a great off season, and we will look forward to seeing all of you on the fields in 2022. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
Dan.
night.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.